stop scrolling. Because what you're about to hear was never meant to reach the public. No headlines. No police reports. No official statements. Just whispers and one night so explosive that insiders say it changed everything. For months, Teyana Taylor and Pierre sold the world a flawless image, red carpets, perfect smiles, chemistry that felt untouchable. But behind closed doors, sources now claim something far darker unfolded. According to multiple unverified reports, an argument that started as a private disagreement allegedly spiraled out of control. Voices raised, doors slammed, tensions so thick that people nearby reportedly knew something was very, very wrong. And then, silence. The kind of silence that only follows a moment everyone wants buried. Insiders claim Teyana was left shaken, visibly distressed, and determined to keep whatever happened away from cameras and questions. Aaron? He vanished from the narrative just as fast. No denials. No explanations. Just distance. And here's the part that should make you uneasy. This alleged confrontation is now being quietly described as the real reason their relationship ended. Not scheduling conflicts, not growing apart, but one night no one was supposed to talk about. So, what really happened when the cameras were gone? Why did both sides choose silence instead of spin? And who made sure the story never came out until now? Stay right here, because once you hear what insiders are claiming next, you'll never look at this breakup the same way again. To understand how things allegedly reached this breaking point, you have to rewind, not to the night everything fell apart, but to the moment this relationship first stepped into the spotlight. From the outside, Teyana Taylor and Pierre looked like an unexpected yet powerful pairing. Two strong personalities. Two rising forces. Two people who, on paper, shouldn't have collided, but somehow did. Fans called it magnetic. Industry insiders called it strategic. And now, some are calling it inevitable disaster. Teyana Taylor has never been a quiet presence. She's known for control, intensity, and independence, a woman who commands every room she enters. Her past has already been shaped by very public relationship turbulence, career pressure, and constant scrutiny. By the time Aaron entered the picture, insiders say she was fiercely protective of her image, her space, and her boundaries. Pierre, on the other hand, was entering a different phase. Rising visibility, growing recognition, a reputation for being private, intense, and emotionally invested in everything he touches. Friends allegedly described him as deeply expressive, someone who feels everything fully and expects the same in return. And that right there? That's where the cracks allegedly began. At first, the relationship felt electric. Public appearances were calculated but convincing. Body language that sparked speculation. Moments that looked spontaneous, but were always camera-ready. Fans were convinced they were witnessing something real. But insiders say behind the scenes, the dynamic was far more complicated. According to people close to the situation, the relationship developed fast, maybe too fast. Expectations reportedly rose before trust fully settled. Communication allegedly became tense. Not explosive at first, just heavy. Conversations that felt unresolved. Disagreements that never fully closed. And here's what's important. This wasn't happening in isolation. Both were under immense pressure. Schedules that rarely aligned. Outside voices constantly weighing in. Every move analyzed. Every silence interpreted. Sources claim that arguments didn't start over major betrayals. They started over control, distance, and emotional imbalance. Who needed more reassurance? Who felt unheard? Who felt cornered? Small disagreements allegedly stacked up quietly, until they weren't small anymore. Those close to the couple claim there were moments when the tension became visible, not in words, but in absence. Missed appearances. Sudden changes in energy. A noticeable shift from together to guarded. Still, publicly, everything remained polished. Because in celebrity culture, silence isn't peace, it's containment. Behind that silence, insiders now claim there were unresolved confrontations that never reached the public narrative. Heated discussions that ended without resolution. Emotional pressure building behind closed doors. And when pressure has nowhere to go, it doesn't disappear. It waits. Friends allegedly warned both sides that the dynamic was unsustainable, that something was off, that the intensity they mistook for passion might actually be volatility. But walking away publicly wasn't simple. Too many eyes, too many narratives already written, too much image management at stake. So instead of an exit, there was endurance. Instead of resolution, there was suppression. And this is where insiders say the story takes a darker turn. Because when emotions are contained for too long, they don't fade, they detonate. According to unverified accounts, by the time the relationship reached its final phase, the tension had become unavoidable. Conversations allegedly escalated faster. Misunderstandings allegedly turned personal. Emotional boundaries reportedly blurred. The relationship wasn't just strained, it was volatile. And yet, the public saw none of it. No headlines. No warning signs. No gradual unraveling. Just a sudden silence, followed by a breakup explanation that felt too clean to be true. Which brings us to the night insiders are now quietly pointing to, the confrontation that allegedly changed everything. The moment when years of pressure, expectation, and unresolved conflict collided behind closed doors. A moment no one was supposed to talk about. A moment both sides allegedly agreed to bury. Until whispers started surfacing. And once you understand everything that led up to that night, the imbalance, the pressure, the silence, one question becomes impossible to ignore. Was the breakup really mutual, or was it damage control after something went too far? Because according to what insiders are claiming next, the argument didn't just end the relationship. It allegedly rewrote everything we thought we knew. What happened next is the part no one was supposed to see. Because according to multiple alleged insider sources, the night everything exploded wasn't public, wasn't staged, and definitely wasn't meant to leak. It happened behind closed doors, away from cameras, away from security, away from the carefully curated images fans had been fed for months. And that's exactly why what allegedly went down was so violent, so raw, and so disturbing. Sources claim the confrontation happened late at night, inside a private location connected to a quiet industry meeting that was anything but quiet. At first, it was just voices raised. Then accusations. Then silence. The kind of silence that makes your stomach drop because you know what's coming next. According to one alleged witness, Teyana walked in already tense. Her jaw was tight. Her energy was sharp. She wasn't there to talk. She was there to confront. And Pierre? He allegedly looked calm. Too calm. That's what set her off. Because insiders say Teyana accused Aaron of lying to her face for weeks, about meetings, about late-night calls, about industry favors that didn't add up. She allegedly demanded answers. Real answers. Not the polished, PR-safe versions she'd been getting. And that's when the argument allegedly turned explosive. Sources claim Aaron didn't deny everything. He hesitated. That hesitation? That was the match. According to leaked accounts, Teyana allegedly slammed her phone down and showed him something. Messages. Screenshots. Names blurred, but implications crystal clear. Messages that suggested Aaron had been playing both sides, saying one thing in private while letting damaging narratives spread publicly. The room reportedly froze. And then everything broke. An insider claims voices escalated from shouting to screaming in seconds. Chairs scraped. Something crashed against a wall. And then, this is the part that made even hardened industry insiders sick to their stomachs. A sudden movement. Fast and aggressive. No one agrees on who moved first. That's important. Remember that. Because according to one version of events, Teyana stepped forward, pointing, demanding the truth. According to another, Aaron allegedly tried to walk away. And according to a third version, one that's spreading like wildfire online, things turned physical. Allegedly. One source claims there was a shove. Another says there was a grab. Another insists there was a split-second struggle that got out of control. And then came the moment everyone is whispering about. Blood. According to an alleged leaked report, Teyana stumbled backward, hand to her face. When she pulled it away, her mouth was bleeding. Not a trickle. Not a smudge.
Blood.
Witnesses say the room went dead silent. Aaron allegedly looked stunned. Teyana allegedly looked furious and hurt in a way that went far deeper than anything physical. Because this wasn't just pain. This was betrayal turning real. And here's where the story gets darker. Sources claim Teyana didn't cry. She didn't scream. She allegedly laughed. A short, sharp laugh that reportedly made everyone in the room uncomfortable. Then she allegedly said something that insiders are refusing to repeat word for word, but describe as a promise, not a threat. She walked out, bleeding. No police. No ambulance. No immediate report. Just silence. For about 12 hours. Then the internet woke up. Early the next morning, fans noticed something strange. A blurry image began circulating in private group chats, then Discord servers, then finally, Twitter. It showed a woman who looked like Teyana, hood up, head down, with what appeared to be swelling near her mouth. Within minutes, speculation exploded. What happened to her face? Is that blood? Why is no one talking about this? And then came the post that changed everything. A now-deleted Instagram story from an account closely linked to someone in Teyana's inner circle. Black screen. White text. 8 words. Stop protecting men who know exactly what they did. No names. But everyone knew. Fans immediately connected the dots. The timing. The image. The silence from Aaron's side. And suddenly, whispers turned into full-blown accusations. But here's the first twist, the one no one saw coming. According to a separate alleged insider, Teyana wasn't the only one hurt that night. That same source claims Aaron left the location shaken, angry, and immediately made a call. Not to a lawyer, not to PR, but to someone powerful. Someone with influence. Someone who could clean things up. And allegedly, that call worked, because within hours, posts disappeared. Accounts went private. Videos were flagged. Keywords stopped trending. Too fast. Too coordinated. Which led fans to ask a terrifying question. What else happened in that room that night that someone is desperately trying to bury? And just when it seemed like the story couldn't get any darker, another alleged leak surfaced. A short audio clip.
Distorted.
30 seconds long. 2 voices.
Raised.
Heated. And at the very end, a sound that stops everyone cold. A sharp impact. Then silence. No confirmation. No denial. Just chaos. And the biggest question of all hanging in the air, was the bloody mouth just the beginning, or was it the one thing they couldn't hide fast enough? Because if this is what leaked accidentally, what happens when someone decides to release everything on purpose? If the private fight was the spark, this was the wildfire. Because once those first blurry images and cryptic posts hit the internet, the story didn't spread slowly. It detonated. Within hours, timelines were flooded with screenshots, slowed down clips, and side-by-side comparisons of Teyana's recent appearances. Fans started circling one detail obsessively: her mouth. Every smile analyzed, every shadow zoomed, every pixel dissected. And then came the hashtag. It didn't trend organically. It erupted. Hashtag Protect Teyana. Thousands of tweets per minute. Fans demanding answers. Others demanding accountability. And right in the middle of the chaos, absolute silence from Aaron Pierre. No statement. No denial. No praying for privacy. Nothing. And silence in moments like this is never neutral. According to alleged social media analysts, the conversation was being aggressively redirected. Certain posts vanished within minutes. Entire threads disappeared. High engagement tweets were suddenly under review. Fans noticed. And when fans notice, they get louder. Then another leak dropped. This time it wasn't a photo. It was a time-stamped text exchange, allegedly from someone who had access to the situation that night. The messages were vague but chilling. She's bleeding. This went too far. We need to shut this down now. No names. No confirmation. But enough to push the narrative into overdrive. At that point, even neutral observers were asking the same thing. Why does this feel managed? That question became the second wave. TikTok creators started posting breakdowns. Body language experts analyzed old interviews. Industry insiders went live claiming this wasn't the first time there were concerns behind the scenes, just the first time something allegedly went wrong enough to leak. Then came the shocking reveal that flipped the entire story. A verified industry reporter, someone known for not chasing gossip, posted a cryptic tweet. There is audio, and more than one party is scared of it coming out. That was it. No context, no explanation, just gasoline. Within minutes, fans were convinced the leaked audio clip floating around wasn't the only one. And according to alleged sources, that reporter wasn't bluffing. Because behind the scenes, panic had already set in. Allegedly, emergency PR teams were activated overnight. Crisis consultants, reputation specialists, even legal advisors, all moving with one goal:
Delay.
distract, discredit. And then another twist. A new anonymous account appeared on Twitter. No profile photo, no bio, just a single pinned tweet. You've heard the argument. You've seen the aftermath. But you haven't heard what happened before the blood. The account followed exactly 3 people, all connected to the situation. Fans lost their minds. Within an hour, the account dropped a thread claiming that the confrontation wasn't spontaneous at all. According to this alleged insider, the night was set up. Not a trap, but a confrontation planned after weeks of simmering tension, private warnings, and ignored red flags. And here's the detail that sent shockwaves through the internet. The insider claimed someone else was in the room. Not security, not staff. Someone personal. Someone whose presence completely changes the power dynamics of that night. The tweet didn't name them, but fans started guessing immediately. And once that guessing started, the story crossed a line it couldn't uncross. Because now, it wasn't just about a fight. It was about who knew, who watched, and who stayed silent. Then the anonymous account posted one final message before going dark. The injury wasn't the worst part. The words were. That sentence haunted everyone. What words? What was said that night that could be worse than blood? And just when it felt like the story couldn't possibly escalate further, a major entertainment blog quietly updated an old article about Teyana. No announcement. No headline change. Just one added sentence at the bottom. Sources note recent events may shed new light on past tensions. Past tensions? Suddenly, old rumors resurfaced. Old interviews took on new meaning. Fans rewatched moments they once thought were playful, and now read them as strained, forced, uncomfortable. The narrative shifted again. What if this wasn't an isolated incident? What if this was the breaking point of something much bigger? Meanwhile, Aaron's team allegedly started making calls to platforms, to journalists, to influencers, urging restraint, patience, waiting for all the facts. But that phrase only made things worse, because the internet heard it as, wait before you hear the truth. And then, another alleged leak surfaced. A private group chat message, supposedly from someone close to Aaron, saying, if that second clip drops, it's over for everyone. Everyone. Not just him. Not just her. Everyone. Which raised the most terrifying question yet. Who else is implicated in what happened that night? And why are so many powerful people acting like they're holding their breath? As the night ended, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't damage control anymore. This was containment. And containment only happens when the truth is more explosive than the leak. Because if a single blurry image and a distorted audio clip caused this much chaos, what happens when the full recording, clear, unedited, undeniable, finally surfaces? And more importantly, who is going to release it first? By the time the sun came up the next morning, the internet wasn't just reacting. It was at war. What started as whispers turned into full-blown digital riots. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, even comment sections that usually stayed quiet were suddenly on fire. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone picked a side. And nobody was backing down. On one side, fans flooded timelines with emotional posts defending Teyana, posting old clips of her interviews, lyrics, and speeches about strength, respect, and survival. One viral tweet read, "Y'all ignored the signs because she smiled through the pain. Now you're shocked." That tweet alone racked up millions of views in hours. But then came the backlash. Another group, just as loud, started pushing back, demanding proof, accusing the internet of jumping to conclusions and warning about career assassination. Their favorite phrase? Allegations are not facts. The divide was instant and brutal. Hashtags began competing for dominance. Hashtag stand with Teyana versus hashtag wait for the truth, hashtag believe women versus hashtag false narratives. It wasn't a conversation anymore, it was combat. TikTok creators posted hour-long breakdowns analyzing every frame of every clip. Some claimed Teyana's recent public appearances showed clear signs of trauma. Others accused those same creators of exploiting pain for views. And then celebrities started reacting. Not directly. Not by name, but with strategic posts. One high-profile actress shared a cryptic Instagram story. "Silence protects violence. Always has." Fans immediately connected the dots. Another industry figure tweeted, "I've seen how these situations get buried. Don't let it happen again." No names. No confirmation. But the message was loud. At the same time, several male celebrities posted vague statements about innocence until proven guilty, which only fueled accusations of industry double standards. Comment sections turned hostile. Followers dropped. Old tweets resurfaced. The industry, it seemed, was choosing sides without saying it out loud. Then the blogs jumped in. Headlines carefully used words like allegedly, sources claim, and unconfirmed reports, but the damage was already done. Once the story entered mainstream entertainment news, it stopped being gossip. It became a reputation crisis. Music insiders began anonymously messaging journalists, claiming the situation was way bigger than fans realize. Film insiders hinted that upcoming casting decisions might already be changing behind closed doors. One anonymous quote went viral. "This isn't about one fight. It's about what people were willing to overlook." That line shook people, because suddenly, fans weren't just angry about what allegedly happened that night. They were furious about what might have been ignored for years. Meanwhile, brands stayed silent.
Too silent.
Fans noticed which companies continued posting as usual and which ones suddenly paused campaigns. Every silence was interpreted as a statement. Every delay was analyzed. And then came the most controversial reaction of all. A well-known media personality went live and said, "I've heard things about both of them. This isn't black and white." That sentence detonated the internet. Was that victim blaming? Was that insider knowledge? Or was that an attempt to muddy the waters? The backlash was immediate. Clips of that live stream were reposted everywhere, with captions calling the speaker part of the problem. At the same time, Pierre's supporters began pushing their own narrative, claiming the story was being exaggerated, weaponized, and strategically leaked to destroy him at a critical career moment. And that's when the industry tension became impossible to ignore. Because now, careers were on the line. Deals. Endorsements. Future projects. Everyone realized this wasn't just a scandal, it was a power struggle. And just as the debate reached peak intensity, a respected journalist posted one final, chilling line before signing off for the night. "What's public right now is only the surface. The industry knows it." No explanation. No follow-up. Just that. Leaving everyone with the same haunting question. If this is only the surface, what are they still hiding? Just when the internet thought it had reached the end of the road, the story cracked open again. Because while fans were busy fighting each other in comment sections, something far more unsettling was happening quietly behind the scenes, something that completely reframed everything people thought they understood. Late one night, a legal insider, someone who rarely speaks publicly, liked a single tweet. Just one. The tweet read, "If what I heard is accurate, the injury wasn't accidental and it wasn't supposed to be visible." That like stayed up for exactly 9 minutes before disappearing. But 9 minutes was enough. Screenshots spread instantly. Theories exploded. And suddenly, the conversation shifted from what happened to what was meant to happen. According to new alleged whispers circulating in private discords and industry group chats, the fight may not have ended the way people assumed. One anonymous source claimed the bleeding wasn't the final moment, it was the interruption. An interruption that stopped something worse. That claim sent chills through the internet. Because now, the question wasn't just about violence. It was about intent. Another anonymous account, seemingly unrelated to the first, posted a long, emotionally charged thread before locking their profile. They claimed to have seen a longer version of the audio clip everyone was speculating about. And according to them, the most disturbing part wasn't the shouting. It was the pause. They described a moment of complete silence in the recording, seconds long, where no one spoke, no one moved, followed by a voice saying something that has never been leaked publicly. They didn't quote it. They only wrote, "Once you hear that sentence, you can't unhear it." That alone was enough to send people spiraling. Because if that audio exists and if it's being deliberately withheld, then someone somewhere is deciding what the public is allowed to know. And then came the most shocking twist yet. A well-connected industry source allegedly claimed that multiple versions of the narrative were prepared in advance. Different statements, different timelines, different explanations, all waiting to be deployed depending on what leaked first.
Think about that.
Not a response, a strategy tree. That detail changed everything. Suddenly, fans weren't just asking who's lying. They were asking how many truths are being buried. Meanwhile, Teyana remained publicly silent. No interviews, no posts, no emotional statements. But fans noticed something else. She unfollowed exactly one account. Not Aaron's. Someone else's. Someone whose name had barely been mentioned until now. That unfollow triggered a new wave of speculation, with fans digging into connections, past interactions, and quiet loyalties. And once again, the story expanded beyond just two people. Because now it looked like a circle, not a couple. Then, in the final hours before midnight, a journalist posted a teaser for an upcoming investigation. This story does not end with a fight. It ends with choices made long before it. That line hit like a warning. Not a reveal. A countdown. And as the internet held its breath, one last rumor surfaced. Easily the most dangerous one yet. That someone outside the situation, someone with nothing to lose, was considering releasing everything. Not a clip, not a photo, but the full sequence. Audio, messages, context, no edits, no protection. And according to whispers, if that drop happens, it won't just change public opinion. It will force statements, force accountability, force people who've been silent to finally speak. As the night closed, fans were left staring at their screens, refreshing timelines, asking the same terrifying question. Is the truth about to come out, or is it about to be buried forever? Because one thing is clear, this story isn't over. It's barely begun. And whatever happens next, no one is ready for it. Now listen, this story is far from over. If everything you just heard is true, then the internet hasn't even scratched the surface yet. And if it's not, then why are so many people staying silent? I want to know what you think. Backhand index pointing right, was this an accident that went too far? Backhand index pointing right, or is there a deeper truth being hidden from the public? Drop your thoughts in the comments, no filters, no holding back. And make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because if that full leak drops, you'll hear it here first. Eyes fire.